Are you sure you want to go with that? Because aside from some herbal benefits, I'm pretty sure those guys don't have much else green on them. We opened this week at the Swaizmi Inn with Chiu's family ogling over the eldest daughter's accomplishments from episode 34. In particular, they took note of Chiu's interview, which I guess she later clarified that she did intend to take her skills to the international circuit. And as it just so happened, Toji declared that he intended to become the next, landlady of the inn. Sure kid, it's 2020, you can be whatever you want. Nah, but seriously, I think he meant more that he intended to become the general manager of the inn instead of his sister, which their folks all backed up and encouraged Chiu to focus on her high jump. This was of course meant so that she could compete in the sport with no regrets, but that wasn't exactly panning out for her. Yeah, so let's just get this out of the way. Chiu is yet another unfortunate victim of what is referred to as the Blue Cure syndrome. Since the Blue Cures tend to be the prim and proper little ladies of at least the upper middle class, they are often put in a position where they have to decide where to follow through with their preset status, be it whether or not to commit to some extracurricular education or just a job change. At this point, it's become such a cliche in this franchise that if we ever see a blue with at least some amount of wealth, we just sit back and say, okay, so when is this episode gonna happen? But to Chiu's credit, her scenario has been handled just a little bit better. I mean, let's take for example the worst case of this, Saya from Hakuto. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily dislike this character, but I will fully admit her arc of going from an actress to a doctor was handled very poorly. This was mostly due to a lack of build-up towards Saya wanting to become a doctor. Most of her spotlight episodes focused on her wanting to become a full-time actress, and only a relative few about her developing an interest in medicine. Thus, it ended up feeling more like a needless twist than anything. Meanwhile, Chiu has had a bit more balanced showing of her interests. I mean, in spite of the family lineage theme being a focal point for many other blues, the first scene with Chiu had nothing to do with her family's inn, but was of her training for her high jumping. From there was a perfectly even distribution of episodes focused on her two interests. I'm not even kidding, I checked, and they actually alternated between the two. In, high jump, in, high jump, in, high jump. I mean, I gotta give credit to them for at least being organized. Thus, there was at least some justification for her being at a crossroads now because she's been portrayed as having equal interest in both. And as we'll see by the end of this, they will change up a few more things that will make all the difference. Obviously, the first big change here was the fact that the family initiated the whole conflict by encouraging her not to pursue the family business. Meanwhile, in the Byoken Kingdom, Shindoinen, as usual, was crying over her big face boss not being around. Don't worry about it too much, lady. Y'all about to enter the final arc after the New Year's break. That's usually when the final bosses get off their butts and do something. On a side note, I think the king has absolutely no taste if he turns down a lady who makes these many adorable faces in a single episode. Anyway, back with Chiu, she explained her situation to her friends, who of course encouraged her to take advantage of her newfound freedom, which I say with the biggest air quotes. As sure enough, her yips made yet another appearance, but for different reasons than before. Her partner could also sense this, but couldn't exactly put his flipper on it. After getting home that day, Chiu noticed the autumn leaves scattered all over, geez, the pandemic really threw us off, and decided to sweep them up. And in a really nice bit of visual storytelling, we could see her quickly develop a smile as she began to do landlady stuff again, and it just as quickly fade when Toji took the broom and also explained that while part of his motivations for all of this was to give his sister the ability to pursue the high jump, he had also developed genuine interest in taking up managerial duties at the inn. As I've always pointed out, Chiu has some of the best faces in this show, and this scene in particular really exemplified that. Later, when she got to her room, she found a letter from Tsubasa, who shared how her training abroad was going great, and that she looked forward to reuniting with her rival on the IC circuit. Hey Atlas, I think you can take a break. Chiu seems like she'll be able to hold up all that weight in your place. Thankfully, our other protagonists didn't agonize over their friend's dilemma for the whole episode, and were able to quickly figure out what was ailing Chiu thanks to Nyatran's very effective presentation. Realizing that their friend felt incomplete without her landlady duties, they began to brainstorm ways of helping her, and Nodoka thankfully pointed out the most obvious solution.
¿Por qué no los dos?
She even used Hinata's sister as an example, but surprisingly, the energetic Cure herself pointed out that she at least had the advantage of both jaws being within close proximity of each other. Committing to both of Chiu's activities would be far less practical, though not impossible. But yeah, I really liked the scene because our characters weren't being around the bush and just discussed the big bullet points of this conflict like anyone would, really. In the end, of course, they couldn't find a solution, but a certain puppy princess found one in the form of that cheer banner from episode 8, which encouraged their friend to do that one Hero Academia thing. Taking Latte and All Might's words to heart, Peggyton found the solution.
きっと何かいいことをひらめいたのですね。
Sorry, I just had to put that in. I just love Juru so much. At the beach, Chiu did her usual thing and yelled at the poor beach about her problems, first admitting that she did indeed want to pursue high jumping, but... why did the ocean suddenly go silent? Did it turn itself off? I'm guessing it was thinking to itself, girl, get some real problems. Her partner soon arrived with the solution, but that would have to come later, as Shidoinen found her victim of the week. Okay, the next series is going to have to pull out all of the stops if it's going to top an aquatic monster like that. Seriously, maybe it's because I live in Hawaii, but I just love that design. Anyway, since they were nearby, Chiu and Peggyton were the first to engage the Giga. And I'll say right now, this week's fight was okay-ish, not the best animation, but I did like how they at least took advantage of the beach setting, and the Giga's primary sand tornado attack was pretty cool. However, the actual focus was still on Chiu's dilemma, which only worsened when she ended up comparing her indecisiveness to Shindoinen's dedication, more like obsession, to King Byogen. However, her partner then encouraged her to just do both if she really wanted to, believing that she was capable of such with her limit-breaking abilities. And even if that wasn't enough,
それでも、もしまだ勇気が足りないなら、僕のを分けてあげるべ。
damn, Pigta is the biggest Chad in this whole franchise. But yeah, that was a callback to their first meeting, showing how things had come full circle between these two. And yeah, I really like this message, because some of us just work better when we're multitasking. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to everyone, but there are cases of people who do work better under a little extra pressure. Can it be impractical? Maybe. Will it cause burnout? Possibly, but for those willing to, it's worth taking a shot at least. Add in the fact that this is kind of subverting the blue syndrome trope, and yeah, Chiu and her Chad Penguin are the champs. With that, Chiu rejoined the fight, and they were able to stop the Giga using the rain bottle, their lesser used element, to moisten the sand around the Giga's board. And they were able to deliver the finishing blow. With that, the episode ended with Chiu declaring to her family that she would continue to pursue both of her interests, though Toji wasn't going to give up on becoming a landlady either. Though you could also become co-owners, thus allowing Chiu to leave when she needed to for high jumping, while Toji could hold down the fort. Yeah, in hindsight, probably should have opened with that. Okay, I'll admit, this one kind of surprised me. I mean, as I said, I'm not crazy about the Blue Syndrome episodes, but this one changed things up enough and delivered such a unique message that I can't help but appreciate it. Again, I will admit, this is not a lesson for everyone. Pursuing more than one interest can be draining, which even this episode seemed to acknowledge. Still, there are those cases where it can work out, and for a franchise with a character archetype that has always gone with the don't listen to your family route, this is an appreciated change of pace. This episode on its own also had some great moments. As I said, the non-spotlight cures just having an actual discussion where they got right to the point was nice. Chiu and her many faces provided some great visual storytelling, and it was just amazing to see things come full circle between her and Peggyton. While I'm not totally sure if I should consider Chiu as one of the best blues in a while, I will say she and her feathered friends certainly broke more than just their own barriers. They also broke a whole archetype's barriers. If you haven't seen it yet, I just posted a video sharing my thoughts about the latest magazine scans of the upcoming Tropical Rouge team as sort of my last minute Christmas present to all of you. On that note, yes, I have seen the updated website for the series, including the staff listing, so expect an analysis video either later today or definitely Monday morning, because of course they would drop this on us on Christmas when we're trying to celebrate with friends and family. Speaking of which, I do hope everyone had some nice holidays. If you want to, feel free to share your holiday activities in the comments below. For now, I'll keep working on my Toy Trinity video, which will likely come out next week since there won't be a Healin good due to the New Year's break. Still, until next year, technically. Farewell for now, my friends, and if you'll excuse me, Santa gave me some good presents this year.